the hell's the link to this thing? As I'm getting my act together over here, please let me know if you guys have any questions. I don't have anything specifically planned for today. Again, my intention is to come into these sessions with you guys and give you an opportunity to share your charts, give you an opportunity to grab a hold of the microphone and, ask some questions, work through some stuff. We can go through, prior trades. However we can help, right? That's the idea here. I'm pretty good about just talking to fill up space, so we could take that direction as well. It doesn't bother me. Okay. All right. I think the thing's doing the things. And I think I can hop back in here and actually look at the chat. Morning. Got a lot of good mornings, and I appreciate that, guys. Thanks. Appreciate that. So what's the plan? What are we going over today? What kind of questions do we have? Boom, 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 dun, 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 dun. What kind of questions do we have? I'll talk about, tell you what, I'll talk about Bitcoin for a little bit, and then I'll circle back to the chat. All right, number 1 down. Where's number 2 at? We still get a little bit of a drop. Then 3, 4, 5, okay. I'd say that's moderately encouraging, but this is no place to form a swing low, in my opinion. Well, let me double check my statement here. That'd be a bizarre looking PO3 if I've ever seen one, but I think that is right at the very edge of what I would say would still be valid. Sure as hell is. Forming a PO3 on a Friday morning seems hard to believe, in my opinion. That seems hard to believe. So, I don't really like trading on Fridays or the weekends, for that matter. Not really my cup of tea, considering the style of how I trade. It's really painful to do it on these days. I'm just trying to think if... No, we haven't retraced yet. So, yeah, the only thing I will say about this weekend is this next leg down might be a big one. I think I would expect at least as much as this guy. Bruh. I want the squiggly. Yeah, something like that. That's about what I thought. Now, what kind of retracement are we going to see here? Let's see. Need to get rid of that. What was that line? Why is that line on my chart? Go away. I do want this line on my chart. Make that a dotted line or a dashed line, though. Let's put supply on the chart where we have supply. Honestly, I think we only need this section right here. Oh, that's why I always call for that wick. So that's probably the only section we'll need. These levels are dead. We can remove those. Where's my next target at? Call it NT for next target. Bruh. Alright, now I'm back to the chat. Still no questions for me, huh? I mean, I could just stream this on YouTube. The quality should be better. Technically, I am just streaming it on YouTube. Or I am streaming it on YouTube, so you could just grab it there. Because Discord is known for audio problems and yada yada. We might do a slight bearish PO3 here. Bruh. It would be kind of surprising to me to see it come out of here. Now, obviously, this is what market structure kind of says, but I always take issue with when I see market open, and it goes straight in one direction. I'm like, well, hold on. It hasn't tested limit orders above. It has now hit the limit orders below, but it hasn't tested any manner of limit order above. This is market ordering. So I would not expect a lower high out of this area. And I also don't think market ordering is not what I'm looking for. I'm not looking for market orders. I'm looking for limit orders. Hey, how about instead of me waiting to see if you guys have anything that you want to cover, let me follow up on some of the stuff we've covered already. How are we getting on? Yeah, Andy, just hop on here. Maybe I didn't post the YouTube link. No, YouTube link's in my chat. You can always just hop on there, man. Audio should be much better. There'll be a slight delay, but I don't think you'll notice. Because really the only point of the Discord stage is if other people are going to come up and grab the mic and, you know, share their screen and, you know, we kind of collaborate and go through together. So if you're here for that, raise your hand. I'll put you up on the stage and we'll welcome you aboard. And if you're just here to hear me yap, which is fine, YouTube's probably a little bit more stable. Now, the question I was going to ask, how is everybody getting along with poor highs and poor lows and good highs and good lows? How's everybody getting along with that? They're trying to pick up orders in here. I mean, people limit ordered short in here. My gut tells me that still is not going to work. No. I mean, look at this, right? Like price is right here and market open comes just slightly above up it. So it did pick up some manner of limit order. But I don't know, guys. I don't. No. Not to mention, I mean, you're in. We're pretty far down here. Shorting right here, right now is not particularly ideal. You should probably look at the short I'm in, because this does have the potential to come up quite a bit before forming another lower high. what we call that, but that's right. Oh, I know where it got me. I got stopped out on my short. I'm like going back, going like, where did that happen? Oh, that's all right. I didn't have a lot left in it anyway. No, that doesn't make any sense. Boom, down. Bro, I think that move took out my short. Ah, whatever. Doesn't matter. I'm not in it anymore. All right. And if we're just going to do a TA stream, feel free to just pop your coins in or whatever, or assets, and I will take a look at them. It would appear as if that is the direction we're headed here. So, yeah, I mean, it's tough. Like, I can come up with things to talk about, guys, but I just don't know if they're beneficial to you. If I pick a topic that you've already heard me yap about 100 times over, I'm not doing anybody good. So, maybe we could play around with the concept of discount versus premium. How do we feel about that? Discount versus premium. Recap. Here, I'm gonna give you a menu to pick from. Oh, sorry, bearded Mike. Let me go over to YouTube, so maybe you don't have to fucking repeat yourself. I'm looking at Jason Z's comment on YouTube. $20. Brew goes, brah. Just get there, brah. Can you go through what your steps are when you look at a chart you haven't looked at before, top down? Love this idea. And then you said something about like strong highs and strong lows. And when you say poor and good low, as far as liquidity, some of us need it 100 times. Awesome. These are all great, and I would love to do that, and that's exactly what we're going to do. Can you give me a random asset, and I'm going to go to that chart, and we're going to break it down together. It can be Bitcoin. It's fine. I actually don't care. I just don't want to be the one to pick it. I don't want to, you know what I mean? Like, I want somebody to throw it at me, throw me a curveball, so that I am having to really think through it in real time. Because, like, if I try to re-break down the Bitcoin chart, it's going to go so fast that I don't know if it's going to benefit anybody. We want to do BTC? The first one was the idea. Link. Okay, cool. Link. We'll do Link. I've got some TA on there, but we'll just wipe it all, and we'll start over. So we're gonna go through top-down analysis, and we're gonna be using Link. PD arrays. PD arrays are not something I've heard the term before, but it's not really something I use. But we can kind of talk about. I'll do my best to kind of talk about it. All right. So let's get all the drawings off of here, and let's say that we've come to a chart for the first time, and this is all of the information that we have. Right. This is it. Now, I am pretty confident there's more information somewhere over here on Link. It doesn't matter. I mean, it would matter if you didn't have at least a couple years worth of data, but in this case, it does not matter. So let's go and break this bad dog down, right? Let's break this bad dog down. First thing I want to know is what is the highest point price is achieved and what is the lowest point that price is achieved. All right, for all time. So like I'm on the monthly chart. I want to know the absolute highest, and I want to know the absolute lowest. After that, I want to take a look at what happened between these 2 points. I don't think I need another fucking arrow there. Probably dot's pretty good enough, right? So I want to see what happened between those 2 points. So the first thing I'm going to do is I just want to look at this flow here before I look at the flow there. And so I can see that we had set a low here, we had set a high here, and then we came down, we ultimately set the bear market low from last year. And I pay attention, I just try and like get a feel for like, how's this thing been moving, right? Okay, so it had initiated, it had mitigated, it made an attempt to continue, it didn't knock out that high, and then it ended up falling. Okay, cool, check. Just good things to know. As it came down into this bottom area here, we had our first low, our first high, second low, and so that's our our first low and our first high is going to be our range. So in the event that, for whatever reason, let's would it be? No, hold on, I'm getting feedback from my YouTube stream. And if I didn't check the volume levels. Is the music too high on the YouTube stream? Might be a little too high. We'll turn it down. Let me hop back in here. All right. Yeah, so as we fall below, we broke some internal structure here. We came down and took out this low. I'm sure there's, again, I know there's more data back here, but it doesn't matter to me. After we took out this low, I'm looking and I go, okay, so this is the first low we set, and this is the first high we set. That's always going to define my range. And so I can see right there that it took the bottom of that range. We should see a purge at the top. And as I'm looking at this, right? As I'm looking at this, I'm going, well, actually, let's just play it forward. Let's leave replay. All right, let's just break, instead of trying to break down the chart of where it was at one point in time, let's break it down where it is right now, okay? All right, so we had the low, we had the high. Let me get back to, let me get my squiggly. We had the low, we had the high. We tapped the low one more time. Attempted the high, didn't break it. And then we purged the low again. So, again, this is one of my favorite models, right? Anyways, blah, blah, blah. Now I can see that price has made an initiation from this range. And it's formed this, this high right here. So I haven't even left the monthly yet, but I got to finish the monthly before I can drop time frames, right? So we can see that price had made its initiation, it made its mitigation, it had made its continuation. This is a really important piece that we've got to pay, that I would encourage you to place attention on. This is essentially the same short that I took yesterday on Bitcoin, okay? So as this occurred here, you have your range, you have your initiation, you have your mitigation, you have your continuation, but you didn't break your high. So immediately I'm like, well, that's concerning. Well, what's going on here, right? What's going on here? What's going on there? Because that's exactly how I shorted Bitcoin yesterday. Let me go to the Bitcoin chart. I did it on the 1 minute, but it's the exact same principle. Bruh. That one was for Jason. Give me my Bitcoin chart back. All right, where were you? Where were you, Bo? You were right in here. You were right in here. Let me I want to use this example here. So yesterday we had a low, we had a high, we had a low. There's our external structure. We attempted an initiation. We came down, we pulled back for a mitigation. We came for continuation, and the price stopped. So I'm just saying that's the same thing that occurred here. Because this is the short that I took yesterday. Anyways, blah, blah, blah. All right, so cool. So every low has a job to do. Every high has a job to do. Its job is to take out the this low had its job to do. Its job was to take out the high that created it. It failed to break the high. So that would imply weakness upon the low, right? That would imply weakness down here, which in the grand scheme of things, because you failed here and the weakness was here, this was never touched again prior to this. And that is a theory that I place a lot of weight in. I use it all the time. Blindly trust that theory all the time. Right down here, we had an internally good low form, which created an inefficiency, which took us up to the swing high. So my demand in this case is clearly going to be sitting in this area. Now, did we actually SFP the low of that? No, we missed it. Ugly, though. Ugly. And we attempted to continue here. We initiated above some sort of external structure between here and here. And we took the internal high. Let me get all these highlighters off of here. They're pissing me off. All right, so as it stands right now on our monthly structure, let me get my shit straight. Our monthly structure is still bullish on this. Because you have monthly structure right here that broke bullishly. And in order to break it bearishly, this is your bearish break, and you're going to want a monthly candle body below that bearish break, right? So it's broken structure bullishly on the monthly and has not broken it bearishly yet. And that's, for the most part, I did a whole lot of yapping, but that's actually what I came to the monthly chart to learn, is what is the stance of the monthly structure. And the stance of the monthly structure is still currently bullish, and it's in the discount of its range. Oh, are we on logarithmic, are we? Yeah, and it's currently in the discount of its bullish monthly range. All right, cool. Now we've got to hop to the weekly. All right, let's drop it down. Let's take a look at our weekly structure. Our weekly structure is... I mean, that's all kind of like monthly stuff. Let's see, we had... No, that's not weekly. This is an internal weekly break. This is all really ugly. The weekly time frame on this chart is actually not helpful to me at all. At all. It does nothing for me. There's nothing that the monthly chart has not already done. That was the demand it grabbed onto. Anyways. All right, so on the weekly, let's take a look at this, right? This one weekly candle right here. Let's get these other lines off. Yeah, that thing's like an orb. That thing functions like an orb. But anyways, so internal weekly structure. So let's follow from the high to the low. And let's determine when weekly market structure would break bullishly. And we're just going to draw it out on here so everybody can see it. Boom. So that's going to represent the internal weekly market structure right there. And that is not going to break bullishly until, until you see, for me, I'm going to need to see it exceed the deviation threshold of the weekly, right? So I'm going to need to see a candle body close like this to say that the weekly market structure has broken bullishly. So monthly is bullish, has not broken bearish yet. Weekly is ambiguous in the context of this entire range, but is locally bearish, and I don't think anybody's going to disagree with that. Like, we're in a fucking bear market, right? So currently I don't have any, I have no reason to believe, reason to believe that Link is in the process of coming back for something like that. Right now it is in the process of coming back for something like this. Okay, so let's go down to the daily. I don't think our information is going to change much on the daily. Daily, we're gonna be left with the same information of this piece of market structure right here. That is not going to change, and and this market structure is telling us that the swing low is weak, right? Yeah, Link's a tough one, Bearded Mike. So appreciate you throwing this one at me. This is a clusterfuck of trying to determine a strong high and a weak low, and I neglected to mention what is what, right? So technically speaking, this is your strong monthly low, and this is your weak monthly high. Now, that does not mean that means that price can hit here, can touch the strong low, and still remain bullish on the monthly time frame. Wild, but oh no. Yeah, that's where it's at. This is, bro, this is very convoluted, and I could see maybe why you picked this one if this is the one that you were struggling to wrap your head around. As none of this shit exists on the Bitcoin chart, but that's okay because I asked for a challenge. Okay, so now we are on our daily time frame. And we know that this is a weak low. Technically, this is your strong high on the week or on the daily. And so in this circumstance, when you have a weak low and a strong high up here, expectational order flow is a lower high for a lower low, right? And that is quite likely your lower high, and we are quite likely heading for our lower low right now. All right. Hold on. I'm going to stop before I go too much further. I'm going to make sure that there wasn't any questions about this stuff. Talk about how market makers think and how you trade with that knowledge. Yeah. I can. We can try and talk about how market makers think and how I trade with that knowledge. We'll do that as well. Why am I on loop? Why am I on loop? Move back to Link. I must have hit the space bar. Let's bring in some of that context right now. So market makers accumulate and they distribute. They do a lot of other things. They tackle specific liquidity operations, but for the most part, in the context of what we're looking at on Link right now on the daily time frame, I think the only thing we're going to need to talk about on the daily time frame here is accumulation and distribution, right? Why do they accumulate? Because in order to build a massive position in the market, you can't do it in one shot. You have to take small bites at a time, small bites at a time, small bites at a time. It's like eating a whale. These are whales, right? So you got to eat a whale one bite at a time. So let's look at accumulation, right? Let's look at accumulation. This is accumulation. This is accumulation. This is how the market maker builds a very large, multi-million, 100 million, whatever, a very, very large position in the market, right? They're buying all of these lows. They're buying all of these lows. And then once this is a model 1 accumulation where you have your don't make me pull out the labels. I don't want to do the labels, but you have your first tap, you have your second tap, and then when you finally blow the range low here, spring. This is the spring, right? So this is what accumulation looks like. And then if we invert this chart, this is going to be what distribution looks like. That's what a distribution range is going to present like. One thing I want you to pay attention to is all these lows that are stacked in here in the case of distribution, or all the highs that were stacked in there in the case of accumulation. So if we know that market makers accumulate and they distribute, and they do that before there's a large move, then we can employ that logic right here where we're at. And we can say, has the market maker accumulated, yes or no? And for me, you're welcome to your own opinion, right? But for me, I look at this chart and I say, objectively, no, the market maker has not accumulated. Has not happened yet. But what does distribution look like? What does distribution look like? I'm going to steal this. I'm going to invert this. I'm going to steal it. Reinvert it. And we're going to go back over here and paste it. I want to drop to like the 4-hour time frame. So using commonsensical principles, now this was more of a PO3 on your, it's not called UTAD on distribution, but apologize for your third tap, right? So you got 1, you got 2, you got 3, right? So here we have 1, we have 2, and then we have a bearish PO3 forming our third tap prior to the spring, right? And so if we go from this high to the low that created that high and we apply the deviation threshold, we see that we're wicking above that. So this right now currently is evidence of redistribution and not accumulation. Now that we know that we have evidence of redistribution and not accumulation, now we've already identified that this low down here is a weak low. Now we're going to use the rest of the market structure that we have existing, right? Okay. Tell you I don't like where the high formed, but that doesn't matter. It's quite okay. All right. Let's see. So we've identified that the strong weekly high was like way north of us, and yeah, our strong highs on the weekly and daily are way north of us, right? Way north of us. So we see it initiate, mitigate, continue, kind of fail over, come back to the range, whatever. This is a bearish manipulation. You could probably see it clearly on volume too. Here's another indication of when price is distributing and not accumulating. When you see price rising and volume falling, that is clear evidence that this is distribution up here and not accumulation. You can take a look at any time that price has broke a major range and headed north, like any time, and you will not see a decrease of volume at the highs. You will not see a decrease of volume at the highs. I feel like I'm starting to jump all over the place here, so give me a moment to yap a little bit, and then I'll go back to the chat and we can refocus. All right, so what does our structure look like between here and here? That was our structure between those 2 points. That was our primary structure. There's our first attempt to break it. There's our second attempt to break it. Not nearly as clean as some of these other ones. Let's not overthink this, okay? So let's talk about this really quick. So if this is the first place that it can break, you see that it clearly breaks out of the deviation threshold, and in doing so continues to flow up. Absolutely slams out of it, continues to flow up, right? And then we get up to this height, and we're going to make another initiation. All signs at this point on the chart are pointing north. All signs at this point in the chart are pointing north, right? So what should not happen? What should not have to happen for us to continue to go up north? Do we have 4-hour structure here? Yeah, we do, right? We do. So after the initiation of here, we form some manner of 4-hour structure here. Yeah, we've got 2 consecutive down, 2 consecutive up, consecutive down, up. So we put in 4-hour structure here. So bare minimum, you should not lose. You should never no. In a range like this, you should never have to lose 4-hour structure. If you are forming a bottom that is going to take you to the top of the range, you should never have to lose 4-hour structure. So the very moment that price comes from here, 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 and then it breaks this, you need to be like focusing on the fact that we deviated this high. I heard a voice come on a microphone. It must be that one guy. Must be that one guy. Let me turn my music down so I can hear you this time. Top of the morning, good sir. Boy, Bearded Mike, you really got me on this one, but that's okay. That's all right. So, in the event that this was intended for higher, right? So let's look at this another way. Let's say that we had our low, we had our high, we had our higher high, we had our higher low. If we're looking for a higher high, we shouldn't see a collapse of that trend on the way. And so the moment that trend breaks down, you need to start paying attention. Like, wait a minute, was there some distribution that occurred that I was not tuned into? Because you should never have to do this. So anyways, talking more about structure, this is in my opinion, we've gone from the monthly all the way down to the 2 most relevant points on the chart. And the 2 most relevant points on the chart or the 2 most relevant pieces of information on the chart are going to be this bearish break right here. So we know that price between here and here cannot return bullish market structure until at least, its primary structure, I would say, is 1-hour structure. So it cannot turn, it cannot turn bullish again until we break that. So we know that. And furthermore, we know that we have rotated an entire range here. So a couple things I think I glossed over. When you have this break, get all this crap off my chart. When you have this break like this and you have broken your primary upwards structure from your low, once you break your primary upward structure from your low, this is always going to, for me, imply weakness on the low of this range, right? And so we've hit that, and now we can go, okay, this has to be fairly neutral. We've got a couple of pieces of information. We see that a bearish PO3 occurred. We've objectively determined that the chart contains information of distribution and not accumulation. In an attempt to run back up, our leg failed and collapsed down. But I always look at this as a flow chart, right? This break here indicates an order flow objective of here. But you have to break this. And by break it, I mean break it. Not some piddly little candle body close below. I mean actually break it. Once you break this, then I think it's very clear that we are coming here. Well, let's not get ahead of ourselves. That's at least going to apply here, right? Yeah, this is the better way to look at it. Though we're going to come for $7.6, or I'm a monkey's uncle. But the reason that what is this 83.89 is the only thing that is next on the table is because it is the low that created this high. So a break of here is only going to imply a target of here, because that is still our more primary range that we're dealing with, right? Our range was here. This was our deviation threshold. Our range is now expanded to here. And so that would only apply a target of this guy. Now we have to break that guy there to start targeting anything lower, which would be like this guy and this guy. And then once we break those, get some of the stuff off the bottom of my chart. Go away, go away, go away. All right. Once we break, yeah, okay. So let me get my head wrapped back around this. A break of this equals this. A break of this equals this. A break of this equals this. A break of that equals this. But now, man, I feel like, Bearded Mike, I feel like I am fucking failing you here, bro, because somehow I've managed to find myself talking about order flow objective as opposed to market structure and strong highs and lows. So I need a pause. I need to let you guys take control and see, and you guys got to get me back on. You guys got to get me back on the fucking train here. Listening while sorting shit. House got struck by lightning. Oh, bro, I'm sorry to hear that. Hope you guys are okay. When you say primary structure, does that also mean external? Yes. Well, I use the term primary structure all the time, but it doesn't always imply. No, it does not always imply external. It does not always imply external. You have primary external structure. You do have primary external structure, but when I refer to primary structure, like let's look at this leg of price here. Let's look at this leg of price right here. Okay. When I define this low as weak and targeted is when the primary structure of that leg of price fails. Okay? So it doesn't matter what piece of structure you're looking at. In my opinion, it makes no difference. Every piece of structure has, or every move contains its own primary structure. And so to me, when the primary structure of that up move breaks, there's your break point of your primary upwards structure. Okay, so when the primary upward structure fails, that to me always implies that the low that created the high is weak and targeted. So that's where we're going now. Just like just like in the case of this guy where its primary structure failed here, that is making this low weak and targeted. When this primary structure failed here, that is making this low weak and targeted. And the better way to have looked at this piece of price action here is through that lens. That is a much better way to look at that. 4 hour, boom, boom, boom. Yeah, technically you have structure that's internal to this. Boy, the link is so much harder to explain all these concepts on than like almost anything else. So if you're going to break your 4 hour structure here, those are wicks. Those are wicks right there. So we're going to come to here is going to need to be our next break point if we're stair stepping it. And then we're dealing with this high, and we still have to break this stuff, man. We still got to break this stuff. And it didn't break. So I don't know, bro. God damn it. I feel like you lost. I lost. I feel like I lost everybody. That's the fucking trouble. I feel like I fucking lost everybody. Maybe we do it all over on a different chart. Link is brutal to explain this stuff with. We were talking about strong highs and weak lows, and maybe we'll move on to talking about market maker stuff. What is this? Am I on replay? What is happening? Leave. Oh, I'll be damned. Well, here's where my thinking like a market maker wouldn't have done me any good this morning. I don't like this open at all. I think this open's dog shit. I think that open's dog shit. Man, I'm sorry. Somebody's got to get me back on track here. I can talk. Dude, can you? Why can't I hear you? Why can't I hear you? I see you waving your hands. I had audio working. All right, bro, I can hear you now. I'm apparently all out of sorts this morning. How are you doing, dude?
I'm doing great.
Awesome, man.
Happy Friday, brother.
You too, dude. I'm doing really well, man.
That's awesome. I've reduced size so much. I'm up like $7,000 this week, though, man. Just like slow, steady, man. Like very patient. Like I'm actually really proud of the way I've traded this week, considering because this price action is so enticing, right? It's like pop, boom, back, boom, boom.
Yeah.
Boom, right? Like
Yeah. It's wild.
growth in my patience and discipline this week, and that for me is big because that's compounding for better trade.
Yeah. For the most part, for me,
That man, I'm going to see TradeFly. I'm going to Cali.
nice.
So tomorrow, flying to Cali, going to see TradeFly. I'm going to go play some golf.
Heck yeah, dude.
Yeah, so he invited me to come see him and his family. And then I'll be back to the grind. But yeah, this has been a tricky market. But I mean, these kind of markets I enjoy because I know these kind of markets make me a better trader. As long as I'm objectively patient.
That's a good way to look at it. Yeah, for the most part, my week, I made my week yesterday on my short, and that's it. But you know, I mean, you probably take 15 trades to every one I take, at least.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I've been trading. I've probably taken three trades a day, 4 trades a day, which is below average for me because I'm like you said, I'm typically taking 10 trades a day, in and out.
Yeah, and
New
if I
New York session, the fuck alone. I've just been trading Asia lately.
interesting, I still can't stand Asia, but
Those late night trades, like took the long last night to Kyle's level. Kyle gave like a long setup last night, and I just waited for like an SFP on that and used that as confluence and took that up for like quick
like
setup.
this little thing. Or no, or were you here on Asia?
Just before, just
Yeah,
before that one, yeah,
yeah, yeah.
before picked that puppy up, and that was like $1,200, man. That's a great day for me. Done, right? Left a little runner, like I was up 9, left a little runner, came back, whatever.
I
Four
got a.
afternoons up to 12, right?
I managed to get in.
Good trade.
I managed to get in.
Good trade this week. You got short and added.
I did at one point in time. Yeah, this was I got in like right up at these highs. We were covering these guys up here, if I remember correctly. And I managed.
Up there.
Yeah, I managed to pull close to because I took profits here as we hit that low, and then I got aggressive on my profit taking here because I wiped my chart that morning and deleted this thing. But anyways, and then man, New York has been having these post moves. Well, it's done it a couple times this week anyway, where you have this big sort of take it back, and I managed to survive this. I actually managed to survive that. I my thing was I actually didn't have that much left in the position at all after this. My stop loss was into profit. My stop loss I just put it just a little bit into profit, not much, just kind of tiny into profit somewhere up in here, and I was as far as I'm concerned I was already out of the trade here. I was like I'm done.
Yeah, there's nothing like killing you in the green, man.
Yeah, I'm done. Whatever happens at this point doesn't matter to me. Um, and yeah, I think I got somewhere near like a 5R out of that or so. And that was like pretty much my trade for the week. I mean, for the most part, I got my hands on a couple of other ones, but they were like pretty much break even trades. But for me, like if I get one good trade a week, that's good for me. I'm good with that.
That's all you need, right? I mean, that little, it's so, so tough, as traders. You always want to be in trades, especially like if you're scalping with IM and stuff like that. And like I said, it's been a very good experience week for me, where it's like, okay, I've been actually very practicing good restraint, right? And that for me was large. But I mean, that's an awesome entry. I love the block there too.
Here, let me show you my. Let me go over some of the people here may have missed. It. They probably weren't on my stream. Yeah, yeah, because finding entry criteria on that was hard. It was hard. For me, it was hard. Where was it? It's up here. It's here. It's here. So I don't often.
Coming into an area that I'm interested in, looking for a reaction down here, but no trade yet, so everybody knows.
I don't. I almost never trade SFPs. Like directly. I like typically I won't trade an SFP until after it's broken some manner of structure. But I was looking at this yesterday and I was like, okay, so we have our low here, we have our high here, we have our low here. Let's throw in another one. So my structure at this point in time is flowing here. And the first thing I did when I came on.
Have distribution for you up at the top there, or no?
Yeah, this is redistribution here. Yeah, that's redistribution for sure. So I come on and I see that we have a poor low underneath us, indicated right here. I see that we had a poor low underneath us and we had good highs. We had good highs and we had poor lows. And but then I saw on open that we had this big sort of move up on open, this initial move up coming right above this high. And so I kind of know at this point in time that my external structure isn't going to break until here. But we had broken this internal structure here. You know what I mean? Like things were looking like it could go up, and I was like, dude, I can't. And we had supply marked out. I had my supply marked out right here, and I was like, okay, so we have initiated, and I was like, I'm hands off. I can't do anything until structure comes up and either fails this high or comes up again and breaks somewhere. I can't do anything. And then I saw it come up and I saw it fail the high, and I was like, okay, I guess I'm going in. And so I don't know, I can't say I can't speak for everybody else, but I was in about right here. Yeah, I just, because for me, I like to employ as much common sense as I can. And for me, I was like, okay, so we have initiated, we have mitigated. What should happen next is continuation. And the moment that I saw that there was not continuation happening, I was like, well, that's not bullish. And we know that, I mean, like, well, I mean, for me, I'm, as far as I'm concerned, I was still looking at this through the lens of, like, that's the high, and that high is going to be there for a long, 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 long time. And we had already, and then this had failed, placing weakness on this, which was our first target. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm.
That high in the break, right? The high in the break. I was talking about that on the live, right? Like the high is not going to be taken for a long time. We have the break. Our expectation of the low is low, high, low.
Mm-hmm.
We have our high, and then now we're coming down, right? Right. So there's no reason to not be short bias, like you said, and
Yep.
yeah, I was looking short there too. Just the way price action was behaving, that was during the live stream. I like to retest back in there as well. We got short, and we were below VWAP. We lost I believe we lost orb there too. Let me double check.
We did. Yeah. Orb was kind of awkward yesterday.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We lost orb, breakdown, retest, and then down we called. And then we sprung back up weirdly in the afternoon. I think that was Donald Trump.
Yeah. This almost took me out. That almost took me out. Mm-hmm.
Had that, but it was news driven, so it's like, this is typically not. I'm technical trader, but I'm also aware of highs that are put in through news driven, tweet should always be questioned, just as a cautionary thing.
Yeah.
And then obviously we just chopped sideways and then rolled up.
Yeah. Yeah, we did for sure. And there was no long to be had for me here. There was zero long to be had for me there. I had nothing. I could see we actually did have demand there, but I mean, like, what is there down here? A 30-second break in structure? No thanks. Not to mention I can't stare at the charts all day.
That sweep is where I got long last night.
This guy? No, this? Oh, this? Where did you get long?
Nope, the one before that.
Oh, this guy. That's right. We talked about that. That one's much cleaner. Much cleaner.
The order block, right? And I have a key volume support level there.
Nice.
So I share the picture here, but I also have like a critical volume level there as well. So it hit the volume level and it SFP'd into an order block. And that was just a nice little sweet scalp at
Yeah.
8 o'clock at night.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
All right, what's the time? I got like 20 minutes left, and I feel like I have epically failed everybody on doing a decent study session today.
About that market maker stuff, and then we just run through that quick example.
All right.
If you want.
Yeah. No, that's fine. That's fine. Yeah, let's what's the best way to condense my thoughts on this? Okay. Here's what I want to communicate on thinking like a market maker, right? Thinking like a market maker. If you are a market maker, your job is, you have two jobs, right? First of all, you're hired by somebody. For the most part, you're hired by somebody to make markets. And so your job is to find entries for large amounts of capitals. That's what you get paid for. That's why you generate a commission, right? Your job is to find entries for large amounts of capital. And in order to do that, you're going to have to trade against the market, which is also your job, right? So when there's a lot of market, say there's a lot of market longs coming in, your job is to support that market with liquidity, right? And so if you have a lot of longs coming in, that means people are buying, but there has to be somebody to sell to them, right? If there's nobody to sell to them, there's nothing to buy. It's like walking into a grocery store with $1 million in your pocket and being like, I'm ready to load up, and the shelves are empty, right? So their job is to provide that liquidity in the opposing direction. And of course, their other job is to do it in a profitable manner. It's not just to throw the liquidity at the market that the market needs. It's to throw the liquidity at the market that it needs and profit from providing the liquidity. And so in order to do that effectively, you've got to be selling more when people are buying, and you have to be buying more when people are selling. That's how it has to work, right? And so that's why that range deviation model is the model that I lean on the most, more than anything, is because it helps me identify where that type of stuff could occur, right? So in other words, like here, let's just look at this. We're on link right now. I'm just going to come from this side of this. Yeah, we're gonna leave it. We're gonna leave it right here. People see this. I see this and I say you have a bad low down here. But other people see this and they say, you have a break. You have this big initiation. Oh my God, the market's leaving me behind. I got to get in. Oh man, thank God, I got a pullback. Boom, awesome. We're off to the races. All these buyers are stepping in right above here, because they're looking at this big inefficiency. The price is obviously moving up. I got to be a part of the move. So this is going to be a place where they're going to be able to pull in a lot of buyers and fill their position. Right here, as we hit this low, you've got people probably wanting to buy this asset right now. That doesn't work for the market maker super well. That doesn't help them a ton. Because they need you to sell it. They need you to sell it. Now, we are really struggling at that low right there. But that's why I like zones like this, what I call extreme discount and extreme premium. Because for the most part, when market participants see price fall into here, below here, they're going, oh, it's all about trapping breakout traders. There are so many breakout traders in the market. As long as markets have existed, for whatever reason, people cannot figure out that you cannot buy highs and you cannot sell lows. I don't know why the general public has not been able to wrap their head around that. But these markets have existed and been run this way for decades upon decades upon decades. And even today, people are selling this low. And just like yesterday or Tuesday, they were buying this high. No matter how many, these markets probably operated this way for over 100 years, and people still do it. And that's why market makers still win. And so when price inevitably falls below here, all those people are going to go, oh, it's a breakout, we're going lower. And that is the traps that they set all of the time. Constantly. Even the, even the trade, that the little scalp that Alex was talking about yesterday, I can probably make an example of it right there. Yeah. yeah, I think it's still a pretty good example. I think it's still a pretty good example. Price has been going what direction all day long, right? And then some market participants get to the chart and they're going, oh, I got to make some money today. I got to make some money today. I got to make some money today, right? And they see it start diving below this low, and they're going, all right, man, now it's time to sell. Now it's time to sell. I'm gonna take some profit down here. Actually, that's not even gonna hold. I'm gonna come all the way down here with it. I'm gonna come all the way down here with it, right? And they see it come below that low, and they start selling the low, right? They start selling the low, and that's exactly what the market maker's waiting for. It's exactly what they're waiting for. Exactly how it goes. It's exactly how it goes, right? It breaks above this high. You know, they first of all they short here right into the market maker's long position, and then it comes back here and they get stopped out. And then they see it breaking that way, and they're like, oh, okay, here's my chance to make my money back, man. Here's my chance to make my money back. Now we're clearly breaking the structure to the upside, which is why anybody new to this market, I just strongly encourage you to look at a break of structure through this lens. Come on, bro. Get on the damn wick. I strongly encourage you to look at the break of structure through this lens. I don't care what time frame you're looking at. If a range is going to break, it's going to break, okay? It's not going to fiddle fart around up here. If you go down to the lower time frames on this, you know, the buyers come in, it pulls back, comes in again, can't set a new high, same problem, and you know, again, I would employ the exact same logic on this. See, that's my high and that's my low. And I'm like, that's not cutting it for me, man. That's not cutting it for me as a break. And so this is the exact same thing happens, right? Everybody starts buying the high, and the market maker fills their position. And they just do it all day long. Break the low. Oh, here we go. And that's when they pull it right back on you. And it stops once they have enough liquidity, right? So maybe you short here and you cover here like a smart person. But that doesn't mean that there wasn't a lot of stops in this area. So they come back and run those stops, come down again. Oh, we missed some stops. Come back for those stops again, roll it down. It's constant. It's all that happens. And so these are the concepts that I'm always using when I'm looking at market structure, because when I look at any chart, right? Like if I looked at open today, I actually don't like open today, but if I look at open today, I go, okay, well where can the market maker bring in liquidity? Okay, so they can bring in liquidity right here. They can bring some buyers in or some sellers in there, but honestly, I didn't think they would be able to bring the buyers in until here. And so I wasn't going to be, I wasn't going to touch this because market open, I covered this a couple times already, but on market open, this is all the limit orders that they were able to tag. That's it. That's all. Right? That is all the limit orders they were able to tag. And I was like, that's not going to qualify for me. But yeah, and then if I look at this right now, zoom out, get a blank chart here, and I go, okay, well, where is the most logical place that the market maker is going to be able to bring in shorts? Now it's going into a weekend, so I always keep that in mind. But I think they can get people to short a loss of this low. I personally think that they can get people to short a loss of that low. Right? So if you come down here and break the low, let's say you actually like really break the low, I think they can get a whole bunch of people to sell. And all that has happened is you had a range, you have initiated, you have not mitigated prior to any continuation. And so they'll get everybody to sell. They'll get everybody to sell down here, only to spend the next however many days it takes to come back and rip them all out of the market just enough to where everybody goes, oh man, I was wrong. It's time to start buying, for them to form your lower high for your next lower low. And so, and for me, this is not a area in the market that I love participating in, because this typically provides no confirmation. You get no structure in here flipping up in the other direction. Typically, I'm going to guess that this is how it will go, and we'll see if I'm right or not. I'm going to guess that this is going to come down significantly below this low. It's going to have a single low, like all the way down to the 1 minute time frame, and then price is going to climb up from here, forming internal only structure, something along those lines. And so I don't like to participate in this move for a couple of things, because this will never meet my entry criteria. I have no bullish break of structure, and I'm trading against trend. And second of all, this leg should be longer than this leg. So me waiting for this leg is the responsible thing to do. It's the responsible thing for me to do. And I would imagine that is almost precisely how this will go. How far does it go back up into here after that? I don't know the answer to that question. Does it come right back off of the prior swing low? Does it come clean back up to unmitigated supply? Or does it just do something in between altogether as a function of real-time liquidity hits the market and just picks a random place to start sort of redistributing and then fall? I don't know the answers to that, but I would imagine that the chart is going to look very much like this when we come to it next week. That's what I would imagine. Yeah, the market does need breakout traders, Reggie. You're not wrong. If it wasn't for the breakout traders, none of us could function, right? None of us could function. But yeah, I for the most part, looking at it through the lens of a market maker is your job is to try and use these candles to determine what it will cause retail traders to do. And then you do the fucking opposite. Just like, this sort of action here where it's like, okay, we got boom, boom, and come up, people buy the highs, boom, 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 people give up, they start selling, comes up, people buy the highs. That's all it is. It's all it is. And that's why markets rotate and rotate and rotate. I'm running out of time. So does anybody have any other questions that I can answer?
Yeah.
I don't know why I feel like my brain was
Great play. We're not going to see the Dodgers.
I feel like my brain was in short circuit mode. I'm gonna just take a moment to peek at a few different charts before I head out. I'm still curious if anybody has any questions, and I will do my best to answer them. Yeah, I would say all of our evidence of reaccumulation is probably pretty well in on USDT, and the moment that we break this with a candle body close, or just start putting in price action up into this region, I would say that this level is guaranteed at that point. I mean, there's no actual guarantees, and really and truly, as I've been saying for mucho long time now, USDT is coming here, and we are praying with all of our might that is where our bear market ends. I am anyway, because if not, bro, where do we have to send this thing to? Okay, what we do not want to see here is a big fat initiation. right? We see a big fat initiation there, and I'm taking the rest of the summer off.
Yeah, exactly.
But I would say that is the less likely. That's a less likely scenario. No, no, no. You can't sell everything. You can't do that because if you're gonna sell here, you're the breakout trader.
Yeah.
You can't do that.
Pre-rich.
Yeah, can't do it, man. Can't do it. All right, what's up with dude? Hey, Alex, or anybody else in chat, I would genuinely like your opinion on this because I've only formed my own and I haven't really listened to anybody else on the subject, and you guys probably have some valuable knowledge that I could benefit. Oh, am I getting my fucking answer right now? And so I look at.
Thank you.
Yeah, I've been looking at NQ, and I always use the ES mini futures for SPY, but I've been looking at these forever now, going like, it looks like we're forming a distribution. It looks like we're forming a distribution. And like, obviously, the last distribution meant fucking a lot of business. Where are you at with these, Alex? Where are you at with these charts? Because to me, like, I'm like, NQ's coming down here.
Yeah, for the DAC, I'm looking for the lower high, so I want it to roll out right now, and it's all about where does that lower high come in, and that's where I'm concerned, right? Like with the DAC, you're looking at, well, I look at the US 100, but I can show you the exact same thing with the DAC. I'm looking at
Yeah, whatever.
this line is 24,500. It's a line in the sand, so right now we're coming into that big block. So I look for 23,000 to be support right now, and then 24.5 to be the retest. Uh, so yeah, we're in that box that you just drew, that gray box there. So
Yeah.
looking for the lower high, right? Like if I wherever this puppy comes in, that's where I'm going to either be worried or not be worried. I'll go to the picture here, depending on how high and how low this is,
Mm,
where that
mm,
lower high comes in.
yeah. Yeah, these charts are,
That's what brings us back down to 20,000. Easy.
yeah, those charts to me, and I know we're using kind of different tickers for the same general data. They scare the shit out of me. These charts scare me, bro. These charts legitimately scare me.
It's that time. Time is just impulsive, right? There's no balance in the trades, right? It's just up, 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 little retracement, up, 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 right? Like
Mm-hmm.
there's very little stopping us until 20.
Yeah, and then like the commonsensical thing that I always use too is like you have a range of price, you have an initiation. We don't have to whip out a deviation template for it. Where's the mitigation? Where's the mitigation of this range?
It has to go back to there. All the
It has to go back to there, right?
At least halfway.
Yeah, yeah. I think there's a lot of pain coming in. I think there's a lot of pain in the future. These charts they just do not look promising. One chart that does look really promising to me though is Tesla. You've been looking at Tesla lately?
Oh, Tesla. All my alerts just fired off today. Tesla and Nvidia just fired off.
Yeah.
Tesla's coming back and retesting previous highs right now. So
Mm-hmm.
5. I'm averaging in right now on Tesla. I can share my chart with you. So my next buy level is going to be the threes. I'll share the chart here. I'm I'm backing the trend on Tesla. I'm looking to buy like 100K worth of Tesla right now over time.
Okay.
Just because of my macro kind of fundamental analysis. Long-term hold, but Tesla I think can go to $10,000.
Well, dude, did you hear the announcement he made this week?
It's crazy, man.
Isn't that bananas?
Because they've cornered the market, bro. They have full control of the market.
Full control. And yeah, dude, like when he was when now obviously you don't see it. It's not real until it happens, right? But when he was talking about like he's confident that within like that well not the Optimus the chips, right? Like he's confident that within a year of getting his plant up and running that he's going to be producing 70% of like the world's supply of chips.
Yeah.
That's
And that's just one of 7 markets that he's going to
mm-hmm.
own. Right?
Yeah.
Driving robotics, cars,
We did have a
very volatile and stuff like that, but it's like averaging down right now.
we did have this idea a long time ago, but
60 though, and then it sold at 360.
hell yeah, good for you.
I'm accumulating again. It's kind of like my spot plays.
Yeah, I think
Nvidia has just lost critical support right now, and then my buy zone on Nvidia is 155.
and
But Nvidia has been holding this range forever, and it's finally losing. Finally losing the support. My alert went off today. It's finally kind of rolling over here a little bit. So
yeah, I think Nvidia could hold. But anyways, I am gonna have to hit the road, everybody. So thanks for coming in and joining me, Alex. Appreciate you being here and sharing some time with me as well.
man, I love helping people make it, bro.
Yep, you guys take care.